They're all over the place. Get them. They're so close.
I got one.
Don't get cocky, kid.
But it's a Pod Bros exclusive. What's up, everybody? I'm Richard,
And I am Sean.
and we are speaking the language of bromance. Today, Sean, today is a very significant day. It's a significant day for the life of the consumer.
It is what is it? Capitalism's day of celebration.
Yeah, Black Friday.
Black Friday. This is the day where, moms fight moms and
Kids fight moms, and it really, when you think about videos you see and videos I've seen, like it's pretty much just women. It's middle aged, not even middle aged, like women in like their 30s that are just beating the ever loving shit out of each other over like a Tickle Me Elmo doll or a television, or it's a day where we get to see the depths to which humanity will go to a point.
Well, I remember being younger. It seems like you just kind of sparked this back in me. It was like the Tickle Me Elmo doll. It was the Furby. It was all these kids' things that people tried to fight for. There was a movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger that was based on this. Wasn't it like Jingle All the Way or something like that? The basis of this Black Friday.
Yes, yeah, it was Jingle All the Way, which that was a pull. That was a deep cut. I really don't remember that movie until you just said it.
I remember Sinbad was in it, and
Trying to think who else was Danny DeVito in that movie.
I want to say so, yeah. But it was just like, oh, we only have 1,000 of these Tickle Me Elmo dolls, so people go in because if little Johnny doesn't get his Tickle Me the Elmo doll, he's gonna start doing black tar heroin, and it's all because of that Black Friday in 2001.
I'm not really exactly sure when the whole thing started. I mean, I know I understand that the whole origin behind Black Friday was when, oh God, I had it and I lost it. It was when retailers would be in the black, because they say retail. If you work in retail, or retail business usually operates in the red, and then at that day, the day after Thanksgiving, is when retailers operate what they call in the black. That's when from the day after Thanksgiving till the end of the year is when they make their profit.
I gotcha. So this was their way to try it. So they already made, like, they're already even, and this time of year was just when they tried to get over the top, or at this point in time they were trying to make their money.
Right. This is when they're working hard. They're like, hey, we're at the break even point, and now it's time to start seeing them dollar signs. That's why they go all crazy, and so to draw people in, they would start slashing prices to try and bring people in the door, and it just it's now escalated into middle-aged women beating the living shit out of each other.
Well, it always seemed to start out like it was toys. Toys was the thing. Maybe that's just because I was a kid, but now it's you get this 40-inch TV for $300, where if you wait a month and a half, you can get it for $250. All the deals you see anymore seem like they're just not that. They're great at that moment, but you wait a couple months and you can get the same deal without getting elbowed in the ribs or poked in the eyes by that 12-year-old kid. Right.
And the thing I think is funny now is what you see go on sale, and the things that people really go for are things like you said, TVs, camcorders, phones, things like that. And the thing that I love, not really the thing that I love, but the thing that I find interesting is, okay, so they're selling a 60-inch television for $700 or whatever. They have the price like drastically marked down, and how it's supposed to be the start of the Christmas shopping holiday season, but how many of those people are buying that $700 television and then are going home and putting a bow on it and writing, to John from Mary? No, that's not what's happening. We all know what's happening. They're buying that TV because they want it in their fucking living room. The very start of the holiday season is people buying shit for themselves.
Well, it's very ironic, and Tiffany was talking about this today. Just a day ago, you're sitting around a table with food, being thankful for all these things and being very grateful. And the very next morning, you get your ass out of bed at like 4:00, or maybe you wait in line on Thanksgiving as well, just to get that TV.
Yeah, or maybe as soon as the turkey's put away, and as soon as leftovers are separated amongst the family members, then you head out to stand in line. And here we go with the damn lines again.
Oh, I drove by. We drove back in town, and there was one person camped out in front of a Best Buy Wednesday night. So 2 nights before the opening of the Black Friday, and they already had their tent set up and ready to go. And I don't even know what Best Buy had for deals, but nothing that I'd want to sit out for 2 days for.
Yeah, because you're sitting at so that guy spent his Thanksgiving camped out in front of a Best Buy.
Yeah. Not even for a Star Wars movie, Richard. Just for some probably free DVDs or a decent priced Sony Blu-ray player.
That's so sad. Because the kids are like, "Mom, where's Dad? He's at Best Buy right now, sweetie. Would you like more stuffing?"
That's the new going out to get cigarettes for this generation. Dad's waiting in line at Best Buy for Black Friday.
That was 3 years ago.
It's a long line, son.
Aww.
Mom, Dad left us, didn't he? No, he's waiting in line at Best Buy. More stuffing. Mom, it's July. Wait, can we have something besides turkey and stuffing? No, you never know when your father's going to come home.
It's seasoned with my tears.
And so you said you've never been out, or you've been out on Black Friday, right?
I have gone out on Black Friday. Now I'm going to put this into context. A long time ago, not really a long time ago. This is probably maybe 5-6 years ago. I would buy. I was into creating backups for all my movies. I needed backup discs for all of my DVDs. Because I had the movies, and I'm sitting there going, "Oh my God, what if there's a fire? What's going to happen to all my movies?" So I need to back them up onto disc, which is perfectly legal to do. But you went silent. You have to believe me. I was making backups.
I believe you were making backups and not letting people borrow them.
Right.
Borrow them for a long period of time.
Well, of course, you have to keep. I'd have to keep the backup someplace else.
That's a good point.
If my house burns down, what's the point in having the originals right next to the backups? I mean, that doesn't make sense.
Which, thinking about that, it's a good idea that all these companies are pushing more digital, because it's really hard to pirate digital stuff, I think.
I was not pirating. Let's be clear on that.
I'm sorry, it's hard to get back. Well, so you don't have to worry about backups because you can get it anywhere. It's in the cloud.
Exactly. Everything's in the cloud now. Thank goodness. But 10 years ago, there wasn't really a cloud. So I needed to back up my movies. So in order to do that, I needed blank DVDs. Now, there was a store that on Black Friday, they were running a really great deal on some blank DVDs. And I did this 2 years in a row, where all I needed was just some blank DVDs. And there was a store that was running a really good deal on them. I think you paid, I don't remember how much to walk out the door with them, which was really cheap. And then you would send in a mail-in rebate to get even more money back. So they ended up being just super cheap, like 60-70% off of retail. And these were like 50 packs of blank DVDs. So I would usually grab a couple. And so I got up, I would get up early. This was on that Black Friday. I would get up early. I'd go and I'd wait in line, and everything's hunky-dory. And the thing that I wanted were the blank DVDs, and it wasn't something that people were jonesing for. Blank DVDs were not Tickle Me Elmo. It wasn't something that everybody was like, "Oh, as soon as I go in there, I'm grabbing those blank DVDs." That's the top of my list. So I didn't really have to deal with that much trouble. I didn't have to deal with, fighting somebody for these DVDs. I didn't have to deal with, wrestling from the arms of a mother or from a child. And one year I remember I went and I was I was in line and I was fairly close to the front. I don't remember what time I got there. I think the doors opened at like 6 a.m. I think I got there at like 5:20 or something like that. So I was in line for a good, 30, 40 minutes. Wasn't that bad. But I remember they opened the doors and I'm walking in, and as I'm turning in, the line and then standing right in front of the doors, this car pulls up behind me and this mom gets out. I say mom because, she's driving like a van with a soccer ball sticker on it,
Yeah. So is she driving or does she get out of the car?
She got out of the car.
Okay, so she's not the wheelman in this story.
No, she is not the wheelman.
Okay.
So the van pulls up, she gets out of the car, and she comes up and she's right next to me. So at first I'm thinking like, I've been standing in line here for 40 minutes and you just like decide to pull up and squeeze your way in. I'm like, you know what? Whatever. I'm not about to get upset over this entire ordeal. Like it's not worth it to me.
So you're not the last person in line. Are you like halfway? Or are you?
I'm actually closer to the front.
Okay, so she's bypassing a bunch of people.
She's totally bypassing a bunch of people, and I'm sure people towards the back of the line were probably super upset. But in the chaos of it all, of people rushing through the door or whatever, I doubt anybody even noticed. So really, in hindsight, it's probably a decent tactic. You just wait until right when they open the doors and then just cram your way in there.
If you don't have any human decency or anything, yeah, it's a great tactic.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm walking up to the door, and I'm right on like the edge of the door. I'm kind of getting pushed towards the edge of the door. So it's those those slide automatic doors, and I'm kind of right next to the frame of it. And so there's me, the frame of the door, and then this woman. And she's trying to she's starting to kind of nudge me a little bit. Like she starts throwing an elbow at me. So me, in my infinite humor, I was like, oh, this will be kind of funny. So I wait until we get right up to the door. So I'm, like I said, I'm on the edge of the door and there's a window on the other side of the door. Just, big, it's a retail store. So, there's the automatic doors, and then it's just glass windows on the other side, or on the edges. So as soon as we get to the edge, because we're both kind of you're moving with the line, so you're moving at a fairly brisk pace. So I wait until we get right to the door, and as soon as we get to the door, I kind of throw my shoulder into it and give her kind of a nudge. And I think she wasn't expecting it because it totally threw her off balance. She stumbles to the side and then boom, face plants right into the window. So I get through the door. As soon as I get through the door, I turn around and I just see it's like straight out of a cartoon where where you see somebody hit the glass and then just slide down.
So this chick totally bypasses a bunch of people. You shoulder her out of the way, and she runs into the wall basically. And now everybody's just passing her going into the store.
Yes.
That is awesome.
Oh, yes. Like the people that were behind me are completely unfazed by watching this woman just basically walk into a pane of glass. However, I was the one that turned around because I needed to see the fruits of my labor.
So did you get a finger, or did anything happen out of that?
Never saw the woman after that.
Oh, okay.
Because, like I said, big throng of people, massive chaos. Okay, so that was my bad deed.
I got a funny story about that's similar to that. So my mom went to a store like that one day to pick me up something that I really needed for school, and she said that there was somebody holding a line that looked, it was a guy with a longer hair was holding her place in line. But she said that this jerk shouldered her, and she ran into the glass.
That sounds terrible.
Wait a second. No, I'm just kidding.
And that's the story of how Sean had a terrible Christmas.
What do you mean I won't have any pens for school? So that was bad, Richard.
No, okay. No, I have to give this is the rousing second part of that story. because, that was my bad deed. I have to, I'm a firm believer in karmic balance, so I have to, you got to balance the scales. So I go through I'm still at the store. I go, following with the line, and they had everything laid out, everything that was on their ad, they had laid out on table in this big open area. And so people are just like, massing on this table and grabbing things. I mean, it's starting to get, if for anyone that's claustrophobic, don't go out on this holiday,
Oh,
because
yeah,
this holiday would shred your nerves.
If you don't care, like strangers touching you and basically being close to people, yeah, I've only gone out a few times, never to buy something, just to kind of be like, oh, mom or my sister and mom and wife are all going out to kind of do something. Let's go to the store too, just to have to waste an hour. And every time we get there, we're like, why the hell did we do this? We're not going to buy anything.
Yeah, you go and you do like the people watching, and it's kind of like watching a car wreck where it's like, oh, this will be fun and interesting, and then 5 minutes into it, you're like, oh, this is terrible.
Let's just go get ice cream and go back home.
So I get to the table, I see the DVDs, so I go up and I grab the DVDs, and like I said, this is not an item. This wasn't like a big ticket item, so not I had no trouble, going up there. I grabbed the 2 packs of DVDs I wanted, and started to make my way back through to get to the checkout. So I have the DVDs in my hand. I turn around because there's a part of me that's just I have to just take a minute and just look at this. So I turn around and I look and I see these people like just swarming this table like hungry ants on a sugar cube. They are all over this. And in the middle of it, I see this old woman, like just an old frail woman. She had to have been at least 70 and very small. And I can see her making her way to the table, but on each side of her were these very large men. And like the large men to the side of her combined with the throng of people that are already pressing in on this table, I can see her start to get compressed almost inside this throng of people. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, this is a bad situation for her right now. I'm like, this is not going to end well for her. So at the brink of her being crushed, it's almost like the trash compactor scene in Star Wars. Like I'm looking at this and I have to do something. So I set my DVDs on a shelf just next to the checkout, and I turn and I see her and I grab her by the back of her coat with both my hands, and with all my might, I wrench her out of this crowd of people. Cause she's getting, if you look at, you're looking at this and she's seriously getting almost crushed. Mm-hmm. Like people are just pressing in on her. And it, like I said, she had to have been no more than 5 feet tall, kind of hunched over, very, like just looks like your grandmother,
Seems like just a complete bad situation right now.
Exactly. So I grab her by the back of her coat and I yank her out. And as soon as I yank her out, I turn her around so she's facing me. And I'm like, what do you need? I will get it for you. And she, like, at first, like, it takes her a second because she looks kind of bewildered. She looks kind of like jarred, like, what the hell just happened? Like, it takes her a second to kind of get her bearings. And so she looks at me and she's like, oh, and I honestly, for the life of me, can't remember what it was she wanted. But she was like, oh, I need to get this and this for my grandson. And I'm like, okay, stay here. I will get it for you.
Stay here. Hold my DVDs, and I'll be right back. And she's like, oh, this is exactly what I needed.
I think that's what I was like, okay, hold these. I was like, and don't move. And so then I start to kind of force my way back over to this fucking table. I see the thing she wants, and I reach for it to grab it. I get a hand on it, and as I'm starting to pull it towards me, I feel another hand on it, and I couldn't tell where this hand was coming from because, like I said, there's people everywhere. I just see another hand on the other end, and so I just kind of like yank it really, really quick into my and put it inside my coat. So then I'm like huddled with this thing like it's a newborn baby. I turn around and you're kind of not. I'm not really like throwing elbows to get out of there, but I'm kind of like kind of like how if you're laying down on the ground and you kind of like are shimmying with your shoulders, like I'm cradling this. Like I said, I couldn't even remember. It might have been like a DVD player or something like that. But I'm cradling this thing inside my coat. I'm wedging my way out of there, moving around. I get out and I see her standing there looking like a deer in headlights. Like her eyes are just wide, looking at all this chaos around her. And I open up my coat and I hand it to her and I'm like, here you go, dear. I was like, you looked like you were about to get crushed. And she was like, oh, thank you so much. And she's like, I've never done this before. I was like, yeah, you shouldn't. You shouldn't do this. It's kind of crazy. And so she hands me my DVDs and I give her the thing. And then I go and stand in line for God knows how long. I think that was probably like at least half an hour or better. And I check out and I got in my car and I was like, okay. I was like, that worked. I was like, the morning started off, I started off on a bad note. I went and did my evil deed and then I did my good deed. So it all balanced out.
Well, I think some would argue that you did 2 good deeds.
Fair enough.
I just imagine this story better is when you come back with that DVD player, you hand it to her, then you grab her with both hands again and just put a big old kiss on her lips and say, there you go, ma'am. You're walking away. She's like, what's your name?
Hope you enjoy it, Gladys. I know I did.
You can just call me Richard.
And then I stride off.
There goes my hero.
So that was probably the worst or the most kind of craziness that I've had to deal with on Black Friday. Like I said, I went another year and it was, kind of the same. I just kind of went in and got my stuff and paid for it and left, and no issues or anything to speak of.
Yeah, we were going to talk about this tonight. I've never really gone Black Friday shopping. I go like hours after the fact. So all the deals are pretty much done.
Oh, so you've never actually been there to see the insanity. You've just watched it like many of us do. You wait to watch like the aftermath videos on YouTube and stuff like that.
Or what I like to call them, snuff films.
Yeah, fair enough.
I only remember going once when I was really, really young because we're outside of Shopko or Target or Jack's or something, and there's a big ass line. It was cold. For the life of me, I couldn't figure out why we were out that late or there that early. I asked my mom, what are we doing this early? And she's like, oh, it's so we can get really great deals. And I think when we got in there, everything she wanted was gone.
And then you were like, Mom, why don't we just wait a couple months?
Yeah. And I got smacked. Don't you dare disgrace this holiday. It's not a holiday.
Don't you sass me in front of these complete strangers.
Mom, I'm not... Ow! Ow, Mom! Does anybody want a free kid?
It's a doorbuster. And that's the story of how Sean lost his family.
It only took 10 years of therapy, but...
Like a Morgan Freeman thing. I mean, like, Sean never saw his mother after that day.
So one of the guys I work with was telling me about, he's got a buddy who every year will go out on Black Friday. And what he does, he doesn't go for the deals because he doesn't want any of the deals, but he loves the people watch. So what he'll do is he'll just grab a bunch of carts, like 3 or 4 carts, and just, sit in one of the aisles, like the crafts aisle or something like that. Something where there's no deals.
Okay.
And he'll sit there and he'll wait for somebody carrying like those big ass TVs or one of the big ticket items.
Uh-huh.
And when they walk by, they still want to shop. There's other stuff they want.
Okay.
So what he does is he says, hey, for $5, I'll let you have this cart and I'll even watch this thing for you until you're ready to leave.
Wow. See, Okay, here's my thing is I'm sure like somebody's first thought is like, fuck no, you're gonna steal this.
That was my first thought.
My thing would be like, if somebody did that to me, I'd be like, no, you're walking out the door with this. Like, you're gonna, as soon as I turn my back, like, you're walking to the checkout with this fucking TV. You jerk.
With my TV and my $5.
You bastard.
And then he's just standing out there in the parking lot. When you come out, it's like, oh, I'll sell you this TV for $45. But no, I guess supposedly he makes some serious cash doing this. I don't know who would be like, yeah, sure, go ahead. And how, for the life of him, he knows.
Yeah, how would yeah, that's the other thing. Like, you said he has 3 carts that he does this with?
Yeah, he just grabs a bunch of carts.
But I'm sure like he puts like multiple people's stuff in a cart, right?
Probably. He fills it up as much as he can.
Yeah, how would you remember whose is what?
He's like, listen, just give me $5, your credit card, and your social security number, and I'll watch all this stuff for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sign this form, and I'll notarize that.
Hey, this is a really great day. I forgot. Hey, where'd my stuff go?
Well, I'm just saying, like, you put your TV in there, and then you leave, and then you come back, and they're like, "Where's my TV?" You'd be like, "Oh, I thought you were the other guy." Oh, I thought you. Sorry, I can't keep track of whose is what.
Meanwhile, his wife's just one spot over, just taking all the stuff and going to the front, checking it out,
Right?
selling it in the parking lot,
Punching little kids in the face.
Yeah, because I couldn't. He said it's like he makes serious cash, and to me, serious cash on that would be like what, $100, $500, something like that.
That $100 would be fucking amazing if you like 3 carts.
That's still like 20 things you'd be watching. So you'd be watching 20 TVs or 20 big ticket items, and that just doesn't.
That's what I'm saying. Like how are you gonna remember? I mean, because they're basically strangers. Like,
yeah.
Try to remember the faces of 20 people. Like, just walk through a store and try to remember 20 people. What 20 people look like.
Well, not even 20. Try to like look at one and then get them in a lineup of everybody in the store and pick that person out. It's impossible.
Yeah, be like, oh, you're the guy that had the toaster. You're the guy that had the television. You're the guy that had the blender.
My mom and dad still have trouble picking me out of the house when there's only 4 people there.
Yeah.
Mom's like, didn't we leave you at Black Friday like 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Mom!
Somebody's out there with a kid that they bought that they don't have.
They're looking for a refund. But that was, I mean, that's kind of that's a good Samaritan type story. You are getting paid, but if he's able to do that, I don't know if anybody else out there tries that, but at least
That's
there's
not a bad
some
idea, actually.
Yeah. Because what he likes to do, so he's making money and he's getting to watch all the craziness that ensues from Black Friday. So he's getting to watch, people fighting over gadgets or.
Now, see, that's my thing is like, I've always had that because I'm fascinated by people. I've always had that inclination to be like, man, I should just go to Black Friday just to watch the insanity that is people, beating the living shit out of each other for an Elmo doll or what have you. But my thing is like, I hate getting up early.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not despite my love for sleep overrides my fascination with people.
Well, I mean, it'd be nice if you go and it's something kind of uplifting, but you're not going to come out of that situation feeling good about yourself or the society.
Or society in general. Although I did see a video of a Black Friday in the UK, like how, because they do Black Friday deals in the UK just like they do here, and it's all just this very like sophisticated, well organized affair. Like everybody's standing in line and they're all just kind of hanging out, and everybody's very relaxed, and the security guards are there, and they're passing out like cupcakes and cookies to the people in line. And, people are standing there chit-chatting and whatever, and, like, guy comes up with a tray, cooks, oh, thank you very much, and they're munching on cookies, and then the doors open, and people kind of, slowly file in a very organized fashion. They're not even running. It's like a brisk walk. And they go, and they get their items, and they're off to it's a very calm, relaxed, very mellow affair. And that's in the UK. And then you look here, and it's very much not.
Well, do they have enough stuff there? Because I know it seems like the big chaos that we see is because there's only a finite number of things.
Well, I would think it's the same. I would think it's be the same there.
Well, here, like the store busters, they say like, oh, get a brand new computer for, $6, but there's only like 2 of them.
Right.
So there's no way anybody's really going to get one because the odds of getting 1 out of 2 is very, very rare. So, I mean, over there, are they doing the same thing, or is it more of deals that, oh, well, I'm last in line, but, I should be able to get what I need to get. I've never had any bad luck before.
I would think it'd be the same thing. I would think everything's a limited quantity. But even if it isn't, like, okay, you go to, let's say you go to like a Walmart here or something like that. I mean, let's say they have 50 TVs on hand. Like, if you're the third person in line, is there really a necessity to, go in a full-on dead sprint to make sure that you get your TV? There's 50 of them. You're third in line. Like, calm down about it.
Yeah. Well, I think we screw up with all that stuff here because you should really just give out numbers or something like that. Oh, you're the first one here? Okay, well, we're giving the tickets out at 6 a.m. So here, you get a TV, you get a TV, you get a TV. Oh, sorry, we're out of TVs. Okay, well, there's no reason for me to wait in line then.
Oh, there you go. It'd be like Oprah. It'd be
Yeah.
like, you get a TV and you get a TV.
You, sorry, don't get a TV.
Wouldn't you like to be the guy that hands those out?
That'd be, well, until you got to the end of the line.
or until they're like, hey, that's the guy with the tickets. Ah!
Or he starts selling them, maybe.
You just throw them all up in the air and run.
Well, the reason they probably don't do that, though, is because if you get to the end of the 50, the people who are there just for the TV be like, well, fuck it, I'm going to go home. And they don't get in the store and they don't buy something.
Yeah. So, yeah, okay, that brings me to my point on Black Friday. And I actually had this debate with my wife in the car that...
As you were going to Black Friday this morning.
No, we did not do Black Friday. Who is to fundamentally blame for the insanity that is Black Friday in the U.S.? Who is to blame and who is at fault for people that actually suffer very realistic and very horrific injuries and traumas, both psychological and physical, from this madness? My wife has a very cynical view on life, so she blames people. People don't need to act that way. And I totally agree with her. When you see a video of 2 people like getting physical and actually hitting each other over a television, like calm it down, okay? It's not that serious.
Well, what do they call that? What's it called? Whenever there's like a group of people that do something together, you can't be held liable for it because there's
tribe mentality or whatever.
Something like that. There's some term for it. It's kind of horrific, but I think this was on like an episode of CSI. but this guy in a taxi, the girl in the back is having a heart attack or something, so he pulls her out of the taxi, and everybody around thinks he's trying to kill her or hurt her. So one guy throws a rock, then another guy throws a rock, and then they all like get on the guy and start beating him up. And it's kind of like that tribe or that mob mentality, I think is what it's called.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of that same thing here. It's like, well, everybody else is rushing through here. Everybody else is throwing elbows. So, I just have to do that because I'm one of the people in the mob.
Right. But I guess what I was going to say is like, I honestly, like, if you're asking me who to blame, who's at fault, I'm going to go with the retailers. Because like you said, like somebody could just stand there, hand out tickets for these televisions and be like, okay, here's a ticket for you. Here's a ticket for you. You go in, but they don't do that. And why don't they do that? Because they're creating the situation.
Well, it's a very accepted thing here now because you turn on the news that Saturday or the Friday or the Thursday before and everybody's showing like everybody you see says this thing is terrible. Black Friday is, there's all these bad things that happen, but it still happens every year. Nothing's changed with it.
There's a website somewhere that actually keeps track of a death count. There is a death toll on Black Friday.
What do you know what the number is? Or
I want to say it's like I want to say it's like in like 20 or 30 or maybe even 40.
Dear God, that's more than one. It's too many.
But exactly. That's exactly 40 people that have died, that have actually died either by being crushed by, being pressed up against a gate that's holding them back from coming in, and just the throng of people that are that are trampled, which is which has happened. But I mean, people have fucking died, and I like I said, like, I blame to a if you're asking me who's at fault, I'm gonna have to go with the retailer, because when you create that situation, when you set a powder keg in the middle of a store and light a fuse, bad shit's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of there's people, there's the retailer, there's the media for pushing for this stuff. I mean, there's a lot of people to blame. But you're talking about 40 people. Like, how many of those are kids who didn't have a choice not to be there?
Well, I mean, that might be. I honestly don't know. But you're talking about a shopping day, a day of shopping that has a death count.
That's sad. You just brought me down a lot.
I'm sorry. There's videos of moms beating the shit out of each other. That's always uplifting, maybe.
Well, I think I've got like three good stories still here. So I'll lead with this one because it's kind of funny. It's a couple older women. So there's this kid who's working at Radio Shack during college, during Black Friday.
Okay.
And these two elderly women come in, probably like the ones that you saved, hunched over, just kind of moseying in.
Yeah.
And both of them ask, hey, because I guess they had this calculator. It's a $10 calculator that they're going to sell for $5. So you're saving $5 on this fucking calculator.
Wow.
So these two old ladies come walking in.
Totally warrants a death count, right?
Yeah. So these two sweet old ladies come walking in, and they're like, hey, where's those calculators at? The other old lady's probably like, yeah, I want one of those too. And they're like, oh, well, they're over there on the display, but we only have one left.
Uh-oh.
I guess these two old ladies just start going roller derby style on each other and start ramming into each other. I guess one of them called the other one a fucking bitch. And gets to the line, grabs the one calculator, gets to the front and checks out. These two chicks are just glaring at each other.
Grandma, I've never heard you talk that way.
So there's some kid that, Christmas morning is opening up and gets a calculator. It's like, oh, well, thanks, Grandma. Thanks for this.
Thanks for the calculator, Grandma. She's got she's got like ice on her head. And
she's like, it's pretty much her equivalent of some kind of like war medal that she's giving her kid. And it's like, oh, nice piece of tin here, Grandma.
Yeah.
Do you know what I went through for that? That was Black Friday 2004. That's nice, Grandma. Hey, Grandma, look at this. It says boobs. It's like, I hate you, Sean. Oh, thanks, Grandma.
That brings up and that brings up a whole nother fundamental thing. Is like, okay, most I don't know, when I buy stuff for my kids, okay, you buy stuff for them for Christmas, and they're all happy and excited, and they get it, and everything's all hunky dory, and I cannot tell you how many times I have bought stuff for my kids for Christmas or a birthday or whatever, and not more than 2 weeks later, I find it laying on the floor.
Yeah.
Completely disregarded.
Is it something they really, really wanted, or is it something you thought they'd want?
A little of both. Sometimes column A, sometimes column B. But I mean, if I had gone through the madness of a Black Friday rush for something like that, and I took an elbow to the face or a fist to the eye, or whatever, and then 2 weeks later, after giving it this thing that I had fought and I had literally fought for, give it to my kids, and then 2 weeks later I find it on the floor, I would lose my shit.
I could see being pissed off, especially if it was something they really, really wanted. It's like, oh my God, I can't live without this. And then 2 weeks later, you step on it because it's in the middle of the hallway.
Yeah. I would lose my fucking mind. I'd be like, do you even know what I had to go through? I literally bled for that thing.
I killed a guy. Do you realize that?
I stabbed a man for that fucking DS. I stabbed a man in the heart.
He had it in his hands, and I took out a switch.
Police are looking for me so I could get you that DS.
Why do you think we had to move all the way across country? Not for fun. It's because I had a warrant out for my arrest.
I walked through the store holding a live grenade with the pin out.
It's like, yeah, whatever, Dad. I'll pick it up next time. Ungrateful.
You son of a bitch.
Amanda.
And that's how kids get beat.
All right, so I got another story. So this is about a kid. He was a 19-year-old at this time, and I guess that he threw a punch. He threw a punch, Richard.
He threw a punch.
Yeah.
So you're already leading off with serious. Like, they're in the store, they're fighting over something. Guy throws a punch. They're like, "This is mine." Guy's like, "No, this is mine." And here comes the fists start flaring.
Yeah. So I guess they're waiting in line, and I guess this was the year the 360 came out.
Oh.
So this older woman, probably his grandma, and this like 11, 12-year-old kid are the next in line, and the guy behind the counter is like, "Oh, shoot, we don't have any more left." So, little kid, grandma's like, "Oh, shoot, just missed it." And finally he's like, "Oh, shoot, sorry, there's one left." Picks it up and, maybe he's just messing with the kid, a little fun, to see a little 12-year-old cry because he can't get his 360. And I guess as the guy is putting this over the counter to hand it to the kid, somebody out of nowhere just nabs this 360.
Oh.
He has literally ripped this thing out of this kid's hand. And apparently there's this 19-year-old kid right behind this group, right behind the grandma and the kid. And as the guy turns around to walk away, he just rears back and decks this dude right in the face.
Wow.
And this is how badass this is. So the guy gets hit in the face, kind of falls to the ground, dropping the 360. So what does the 19-year-old kid do? He just kicks the 360 over to the 12-year-old.
Nice.
It's like, there you go, kid.
Oh.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
See, now that's awesome.
Yeah.
See, like, after that, all you have left to do is just, like, even though you're inside and it's the middle of winter, just put on some sunglasses. Like, there you go, kid.
So the story gets a little bit. So I guess he wasn't right next in line. He was a few back. And apparently he was there for some external hard drive or something.
Uh-huh.
So the guy behind the counter after this whole thing happens, because the dude that got decked is like, "All right, I got to leave because my man card just got pulled." So apparently this 19-year-old is like 4 or 5 deep. So he's got a little ways before he's in the front of the line. But the dude behind the counter is like, "All right, well, who's next?" And I guess everybody in the front of them just turns and points to him and is like, "Yeah, that dude's next." So he gets to skip like 5 points.
Oh, that's badass.
That dude's telling that story every Black Friday.
He's telling it to his kids.
It's like, "You know what happened this one Black Friday?"
Let me tell you about Black Friday back in 2002. We get it, Grandpa. You hit somebody.
"No, you don't understand. I decked this dude, and then I kicked the 360 over, and then I put on my shades."
I was like, fuck that guy. I was like Robin Hood, but with video games.
Steal from the dicks, give to the
Kids.
give to the kids.
I did it for the children. That's kind of awesome. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I heard that story, and I'm like, that dude's kind of awesome.
Well, that gives you a lot of hope, because he could have easily been a dick and just picked up and be like, "Oh, well, got myself a 360.
Yeah, this is mine now." And then the kid comes up and shoves the kid in the face.
Kid comes over, is like, "Thanks, mister." Ow!
Yeah, he's like, "Fuck you, kid. You want it, you earn it."
Did you see what I just did? Try and do that to me. Grandma kicks him in the balls.
Yeah, that's kind of awesome.
But how would you feel to be the dude that gets decked? Because one, you have to know you're a dick if you're stealing that from somebody's hands, right?
Exactly. Like, that's the thing is, like, we talk about like mob mentality and stuff like that, but in that situation, you have to know that what you're doing is deplorable. You have to know. And the thing is like, like you said, that he was like 3 or 4 deep back in line. Like, where were those other 4 people? Why didn't the other 4 people hit him first?
Yeah, I don't. Or somebody. You talk about this. Any kind of waiting in line, there's kind of a group, mentality with that. Like you said, when you're waiting in line for the Star Wars movie, if you have to take a piss, everybody's like, "Yeah, dude, we got your spot in line." You kind of have that. I don't know, just that group, that brotherhood type thing.
Yeah. That's why. when it comes to waiting in line for something like a Star Wars movie or something like that, it's an actual enjoyable experience. You're hanging out with people and everybody's super kind and everybody's so nice. And hey, I'm going to go do something real quick. I'm right here, and everybody's like, "Yeah, no, don't worry about it. Go right ahead." But I don't think you would have that same that courtesy would not be extended to you in a line on Black Friday.
No, and I just thought of the reason for that is because in the Star Wars scenario, everybody's getting something. Everybody's going to the same thing. Yeah, they may be able to get just a little bit better seat if they, cut you out of line, but for the most part, they're still going to see the flick just like you.
Well, and also I would like to hope that it's just you're dealing with a different class of people.
Well, there's some kind of commonality because you're all there for Star Wars. And this, everybody's there for themselves.
Yeah.
If I can cut you out of this line, that just gives me a better chance of getting whatever the hell I want.
Yeah.
That's sad. I was trying to think, it's like, well, why isn't there the same thing? It's because there's no commonality. It's every man for themselves when it comes to Black Friday.
So I guess, what does Black Friday say about us as a people? Are we all just, mindless automatons that as soon as a situation comes up where we can better ourselves by that we can climb higher by stepping on someone's neck, that's what we gravitate towards? I like to think no, because that dude right there just, he punched that guy in the face for that kid, but you know what? He punched that guy in the face for all of us.
Well, and I'd like to finish on this last story because this is, we talked about the dude kind of in the beginning that was sitting in front of Best Buy, 2 days before Thanksgiving. And so this guy here, so it was Black Friday 2004, and there's this guy who started camping out in front of Walmart because I guess they're going to offer like some awesome plasma TV for like a really low price. And so the guy shows up on Tuesday. So he's showing up like 3 or 4 days before the sale starts. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 3 days before the sale starts.
Okay.
He's got a tent. He's got an ice cooler. He's got a generator. He's got a little TV. He's got everything he needs for these next 3 nights. He's probably pissing in some kind of can, pooping in something too.
I feel like I know where this story's going. I'm waiting.
So he's sitting there, he's talking to a bunch of people about like how excited he is to be the first in line and how he's going to get a plasma TV. You know what, Richard? You know what this guy has planned for Super Bowl this year?
Oh, he's going
to have a plasma TV. Yeah, he's getting everybody over. He's already told everybody. He's like, we're going to have a plasma TV. First one on the block. First one on the block, everybody. Party at my house. Plasma TV.
Yeah, party at my house. Fuck you guys. I'm getting a plasma TV. Oh, look at me. I'm awesome. I've been out here since Tuesday. I've sat out here in the cold. I've slept in a parking lot.
Everybody's going to the club on Tuesdays. You know what I'm doing? Waiting in Walmart.
Yeah. Some people like to hang. Some people like to spend time with their families. Not this guy. I'm getting my plasma TV.
Yeah, he skipped Thanksgiving. He told little Tommy and little Susie, he's like, you know what? Super Bowl this year, HD plasma TV. It's going to be in this house. All the kids are going to be jealous of you guys. You just wait.
Yeah. You want to watch cartoons? You want to watch cartoons on plasma?
So it was such a big deal. I guess the news came out. They did a short little interview with him. And he explained, he's like, I got a bunch of time off because I'm a truck driver. I'm super, super excited about this. And, he's ready for this. 5 a.m. tomorrow, I'm right where I need to be. So 5 a.m., doors open. He starts walking through Walmart, walks up to the desk. He's like, I've been here for 3 days. I want a plasma TV. And you know what they tell him, Richard?
What do they tell him?
They're like, yeah, we sold out of these like 10 seconds after we opened. He's like, what the fuck? I'm the first one here.
Yeah.
I guess, Walmart has those multiple doors.
Oh, no.
Well, apparently the garden center about 300 yards down opened up a little bit earlier than his doors. So he walks in line and everybody that's walked through the garden center is getting themselves a plasma TV. And so obviously he's like, what the fuck? He's arguing with management. And at this point, management's like, sorry.
Management at that point is probably like, look, we don't have them they're all gone. Like, I don't know what you want us to do.
Oh man, I feel like in that situation, if somebody's been there that long, wouldn't you just kind of hold one off or maybe kind of make a ceremony of it? But that goes back to what we talked about. They don't care. It's just like, we got to get all this shit sold and have people buy more stuff.
Well, and not only that, like, I mean, maybe this is just, there's a piece of you that's like, dude, you waited out there since Tuesday. I think you kind of deserve this to a point.
A little bit. A little sweet irony.
Yeah, I mean, it's if you were that person, you would be pissed off beyond all belief. But you know what? I think that there's a reason you're not that person.
Yeah. There's nothing in me that's going to sit outside for 3 days, pretty much miss 2 days, because usually you spend about 2 days with family. You're missing 2 days with your family for a freaking TV that, yeah, you probably get a heck of a deal on, but I mean, in the end, he had 3 days. And I guess you look at, like, what's your time worth?
Yeah.
Let's say he saved $500. Is that 2 or 3 days worth $500 to you?
Right. And also, I mean, if you were that manager, I don't know, maybe it's me, but if I was that manager, I would be saying, oh, I'm so sorry, but I would kind of be saying it through a bit of a chuckle. I am so sorry that this happened to you. This is a very terrible situation.
He's like, I've been camping out here for 3 days. How long have you been camping out here? 3 days? Nothing better to do?
Guess you should have camped out by the garden center.
I wonder if I really would like to sit like in the manager's mindset right there. Like, if he's sitting there, they're like, oh, it's gonna be so awesome. Greg's out there, and he's been here for 3 days, and once we open up these doors, he's gonna be the first in line. And you're like, well, what happens if we open up the other doors? Oh, fuck this, dude. We got to open up these other doors first.
Right? Like, just like, how long has that guy been sitting out there? Since Tuesday. Isn't that Tom? Yeah? Man, Tom's got a wife and 3 kids. Like, doesn't he want to spend Thanksgiving with him? Well, he says he wants the TV more. Does he now?
He spends all that time on the road away from his family, and he's spending his days off here? Huh?
Jim's on the home and garden door, isn't he? Yeah, he's got the gate locked and everything.
Supposed to open up at 5. Why don't we make it 4:55 there? We'll open those up then.
Why don't you tell Jim to set his clock back a few minutes?
Somebody get the surveillance camera pointed this way. This is gonna be awesome.
Also, make sure he's not armed.
Yeah. Greg comes walking up. It's like, well, your first, hint that you should have went to the garden center was when those 20 people walked out with those plasma TVs.
Oh, see, now wouldn't that be great? Like he's all pressed up against the glass, like just waiting for the doors to open, and he just sees people filing through with TVs in their hands.
Wait a second, those can't be my plasma TVs, can they?
They don't look like employees. Banging on the glass. Hey, you're not employees. You have my television. A Super Bowl party.
I just vision Greg breaking down as they're telling him that all the TVs are gone, and they hand him a box of Kleenexes. He opens his
That'll
up.
be $3.95, sir.
Well, we know you have the money because you're going to buy a plasma TV. Can I interest you in a toaster?
And then he comes home and his neighbor's like, God. Greg, guess what I got?
Super Bowl party at my house, Greg.
My house. I bought up some dude in the parking lot by the garden center.
No, he's like, dude, I just walked up to the garden center and the doors were wide open, so I went in. I showed up at like 4:56.
I was on my way to Starbucks. I was just going to get a coffee, and I walked past the home and garden doors, and they're open. I'm like, I wonder if they got anything good in here.
Wouldn't you know they had plasma TVs?
They were so cheap.
I heard you talking about this all week.
I saw that thing on the news, and I was like, man, I should get myself one of those.
It's a lot easier than I thought. I figured you'd have to camp out for like 4 days to get one of these.
Yeah, I mean, this whole Black Friday nonsense, I mean, you hear a lot about it on the news. This wasn't really that hard.
Greg, what are you doing with that rope? You're saying like he comes home and all the kids come running up to him and hug him. Dad! You get our new TV, Dad!
I'm ready for some cartoons.
There's gonna never be any cartoons in the house anymore.
And he goes into where the fireplace is. He already had the space cleared out. He starts chopping at it with an axe. Fuck this house. Fuck this country. Fuck Walmart.
Honey, we need some groceries. You want to go to Walmart with us?
Their prices are super low.
There's a helpful smile in every aisle. They're rolling back the prices,
This is why we would never work in retail.
No.
That brings up a whole nother point. Like those poor people that work on that day.
Oh God. Oh yeah. I mean, you have to have such patience. Or anytime, like even in this time of year, just not even Black Friday, it's supposed to be the cheerfulness, everybody's supposed to be happy. It's the holiday season. Everybody can not be any more of dicks than they are during this time of year.
Yeah.
Everybody is all for themselves. And I mean, I guess that's kind of down in dirt, kind of down on the whole holiday season, but it's kind of the truth.
Yeah. It reminds me of that. Did you ever watch that South Park episode where Randy is a security guard at the mall, and they basically play it like Game of Thrones, where him and the fellow security guards are like the watchers on the wall, and people are the people are coming up at the door waiting for the doors to open like the White Walkers.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of the internet. You can do all your Christmas shopping there. You don't have to deal with people. It's, internet's a beautiful thing. I guess that's what I have to say.
It is. Yeah, and I think that a lot of people are, I think that's what everybody's kind of gravitating towards, is they're forgoing the madness and then just doing everything online. They just do all their shopping online. Although I will say that there was a story my wife was telling me about. I guess there was a Walmart in Tennessee, I want to say, where there were people standing in line waiting for a deal on, I want to say it was a TV. It seems like TVs have been kind of like the big thing for the last few years.
Yeah.
But they were waiting, they're waiting in line, and the doors open, and these people, they're like, hey, where are the TVs at? And they're like, oh, we're currently out of stock on the TVs because the online sale sold us out. Like, so they sold their entire stock before the doors even opened online.
That's awesome.
So there's a whole line of Gregs that's just like, I camped out here for 4 days, and then some dude's like, just, kind of he wakes up after drinking on Thanksgiving. He's kind of hungover, and he's like, oh, he gets online. He's like, that's a really good deal on the TV. I should get one of those. Add to cart.
I'll pick that up in store. I don't want to do it on Black Friday. That'll be a mess. I'll pick it up on Sunday. That'd be awesome. Well, I guess, do you have any Richard's closing thoughts on our Black Friday special?
How do you wrap this up? I guess I'd say that during this Black Friday especially, I think it's easy to get down on humanity. It's easy to, say, oh, well, people are animals and mob mentality and stuff like that. But I think that there is some rays of hope. I mean, I think that if we all just take a second and breathe and realize that it's just, a television or just a Xbox 360, it's not the end of the world. That maybe we could be a bit more like the UK and everything's a nice, pristine line and we're all getting cupcakes. And I think that we need more. We need more people in this world that are willing to punch a guy in the face and kick a 360 to a 12-year-old. And we should all aspire to be that person. and that's my closing thought.
All right, well, I will do a little bit of housekeeping. Visit our website. We're at languageofbromance.com. Follow us on Twitter at languageofbro. Email us all your Black Friday stories to eatthebeaver at languageofbromance.com. Like us on Facebook and subscribe and leave a review on iTunes and Stitcher.
And don't forget to check us out on the Pod Bros Network,
where you don't have to wait for Black Friday because there's always great specials on that site. Because it is what, Richard? The best podcast site on the internet.
Yeah, and you don't have to wait in line, and it will always be there for you.
And if you're in the need for some headbuds for Christmas or, whatever, go to tweakedaudio.com, use the promo code LOBARMY, and you'll get 33% off of your order.
Which is just as good as any Black Friday deal.
I would even say better.
Ooh.
All right.
You dare.
All right, was there anything else before I close her out?
No.
All right, well, that's all the bromance we have for this show. I'm Sean.
And I'm Richard.
And I say we eat the... Ow! Quit elbowing me! Ow! Eat the beaver! Ow! I just want my DVDs!
Poor old lady.